I think we should focus on improving our accounting practices before expanding to other galaxies.
Oh, come on Bob, you can't be serious. You sound like a broken record.
Hold on a sec, guys. Debbie is trying to say something.
Everyone shut your traps. We're back on in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome back to Earth, everyone. We've got a great show for you today. As tensions rise among the group, we stumbled upon a cache of alien beer.
Oh boy, this is gonna be good.
Let's join in on the fun.
Count me into.
Wait, hold on. I don't think that's a good idea.
Oh, lighten up, Bob. Let's have some fun for once.
You know what's funny, guys? Humans are like the toddler of
What
the
do you mean,
universe.
Alice?
They're always making a mess, and they never learn from their mistake. But at least they're cute sometime.
That's a good one, Alice.
Toddlers of the universe. Well, they do have a tendency to throw tantrums and make a mess of things. You know, I think I am gonna go work on my musical for a bit.
Wait, you're writing a musical, Bob?
And now for our headlines. Good evening, and welcome to 24/7 Newsroom, the intergalactic news show that's out of this world. I'm your host, Charlie, and I'm joined today by our two panel members, Bob and Alice. Bob, how are you feeling today?
I am feeling great, Charlie. It's always a pleasure to be here and discuss the latest news with you and Alice.
Speak for yourself, Bob. I find the humans to be a rather
Well, we'll have to
disappointing
agree to
species.
disagree on that one, Alice. But let's get started with our first article of the night. This one comes to us from Austria, and it's all about hydrogen fuel.
Ah, yes, hydrogen. The fuel of the future. I've been hearing about this for years, but it never seems to really catch on.
Well, there are certainly pros and cons to using hydrogen as a fuel source. It's not without its drawback.
And what would those be, Alice?
I could give you a list of them, but I don't want to get too charged up about it.
Oh no, she didn't.
For starter, hydrogen is highly flammable. There have been concerns about its safety, especially when it comes to transportation.
That's a fair point. But Bavarian Economy Minister Hubert Aiwanger seems to be a big proponent of hydrogen. He believes it's not only a substitute for gas, but also a universal fuel.
And is not wrong, Charlie. Hydrogen has the potential to revolutionize the energy industry. It's clean, efficient, and abundant.
But what about the costs, Bob? Aiwanger seems to think they'll decrease radically, but can we really count on that?
Well, it's hard to say. But we have to start somewhere, right? If we don't invest in new technologies, we'll never make any progress.
That's a good point, Bob. And speaking of progress, did you know that Austria has developed into a gas hub?
I fight to see the relevance of that, Charlie.
Well, the article says that it could be possible to keep this position in the hydrogen era only if Bavaria is involved. It's all about collaboration and working together to achieve a common goal.
Exactly. And that's something that humans could learn a thing or two about.
Well said, Bob. And on that note, let's take a quick break for some earthly advertisements. But don't go anywhere, because we've got plenty more news to come.
Alright, moving on to our next article. Alice, what do you think about the UK sanctioning Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps?
Well Bob, I think it's a classic example of Western powers imposing their own value on other countries. These kinds of sanctions only hurt the people of Iran, not the regime they're supposed to target.
I disagree, Alice. The IRGC has been accused of serious human rights violations. And the UK has a right to take action against such actions.
Hey guys, why don't we try something different? Instead of just arguing back and forth, how about we come up with a solution to this problem?
Oh Carl, always the optimist. Alright. What do you have in mind?
Well, instead of punishing the IRGC or the Iranian people, why don't we try to engage with them? Maybe through diplomacy and dialogue, we can work towards a more peaceful
I'm sure the
resolution.
IRGC will jump at the chance to engage in peaceful dialogue.
Actually, did you know that Kuwait, the country where the source of the article comes from, has a long history of being a mediator in regional conflicts?
Sorry Debbie, we don't have time for your trivia.
Yeah. We're too busy arguing here.
I guess we'll have to agree to disagree for now.
Alright then, back to you guys.
Now.
Our next story comes from Norway.
Yes, where the University of Stavanger has released some interesting data on this year's applicant trends.
That's right Bob. According to NRK, the most popular program at UES is the Customs Education program.
Customs education. Is that like learning how to be a customs officer?
Well, Charlie, I guess you could say they're just trying to learn how to make a clean sweep at the border.
Yes, Charlie. It's a program that teaches students the ins and outs of customs regulations and procedures.
And the second most popular program is the bachelor's degree in economics and administration.
Well, that's not too surprising. Business and economics are always in demand.
And coming in third and fourth place are nursing and law programs, respectively.
But the really interesting news is that the bachelor's program in energy and petroleum technology has seen a 71% increase in applicants compared to last year.
Wow, that's a significant jump.
It certainly is. It looks like there's a renewed interest in the field of energy and petroleum.
And in other news from Menon, a new report reveals that small municipalities in Norway are struggling to attract highly educated individuals.
That's a shame. What are the reasons behind this?
According to the report, there's a shortage of highly educated professionals in these areas, which affects everything from mental health to climate and nature.
Highly educated individuals seek opportunities to use their expertise in a stimulating and developing environment, often opting for private sector jobs in urban areas.
That's understandable, but it does create a brain drain in smaller communities.
And finally, new data from Statistics Norway shows that nearly 80% of students who completed higher vocational education in 2022 were employed in the fall of the same year.
That's great news, especially given the challenge of the pandemic.
Yes, and among students in teaching and pedagogy and health, social, and sports sciences, 96% were employed in the fall of the same year.
You know what they say. En Apple a day keeps the doctor away. But who needs doctor when you've got sport and exercise?
Excuse me, Alice. Just because you don't value your yield doesn't mean the rest of us don't.
Who said I don't value my health? I just don't think we need to obsess over it.
I'm sorry, did I just hear Bob and Alice arguing about health? What dimension did I wake up in?
It's not about obsessing over it, Alice. It's about taking care of ourselves and making sure we have a good quality of life.
Oh, so now you're the poster boy for healthy living, Bob? Give me a break.
Alright, let's all take a deep breath and remember that everyone has their own approach to health and wellness.
Well, Alice's approach is clearly flawed.
And you're clearly overreacting, Bob. Maybe you need to take a chill pill and relax.
Focus please.
It's good to see that higher education is still a valuable investment for students.
Definitely. And there was a significant increase in the number of completed programs in the 2021-2022 academic year.
How many more programs were completed?
11. 200 completed programs in higher vocational education. 800 more than the previous year and 700 more than the 2019-2020 academic year.
Well, it looks like higher education is thriving in Norway.
Let's hope the trend continues.
And on that note, let's take a quick break. Alright. Time for some lighter news. Article 4. Coming to us from Bhutan. His Majesty just returned from a tour of the south.
Oh great, another monarchy parading around like they matter.
It's interesting to see a country that still has a monarchy in this day and age.
I agree. It's not often we see news about Bhutan. But hey, at least they're doing something different.
Oh yeah, because touring the southern Dzongkaks is really groundbreaking.
You know, Alice, sometimes it's good to appreciate the little things. Maybe they had some really great tea or something.
The little things, Charlie? Yes. Yes, I suppose you would know all about the little things.
Speaking of tea, did you know that Bhutan is the only country in the world where the sale of tobacco is illegal?
Oh, congratulations to them.
Hey, it's a good thing you don't live in Bhutan, Alice. I'd hate to see you without your cigarettes.
Can we move on to the next article, please?
Alright. But before we do, let's take a moment to appreciate the fact that despite our differences, we can still come together and have a civil discussion.
Yeah, we may not always agree, but at least we can respect each other's opinions.
Fine. I guess I can appreciate that.
Hey, did you know that Bhutan measures their success by gross national happiness instead of gross domestic product?
That's great trivia, Debbie. But we'll save it for next time. Stay tuned, folk. More news to come.
Welcome back to Earth. Before the break, we were discussing some interesting trivia about Indonesia. Did you know that the national motto of Indonesia is Unity in Diversity? Speaking of diversity, let's talk about the extreme income disparity at Google.
Oh boy, can't wait.
Yeah, let's all cry for the multimillionaires.
And now, let's not be dismissive. Income equality is a serious issue that affects people all over the world.
Yes, especially the multimillionaires.
The average salary for Alphabet employees is below $280, making Pichai's salary 800 times higher than that of the average employee.
This is why humans will never achieve true equality.
Thanks for that uplifting commentary, Carl. But in all seriousness, this is a major issue that needs to be addressed.
In Indonesia, the income inequality is also quite high.
Well, at least they have a national motto that promotes unity.
Yeah, maybe Google should take a page from Indonesia's book.
Yeah, because multinational corporations always care about unity and equality.
You're really on a roll today.
The key takeaway from this article is that income equality is a global issue that needs to be addressed. And with that, we'll be right back after this commercial break. Stay tuned for more Earth after the break. Welcome back to Earth. Our next story is from the Bahamas, where a woman was put on probation for stealing $3 from her former employer.
Wow, what a surprise. Another example of the privileged class getting away with a slap on the wrist for their crime.
Hold on, Alice. We don't know the circumstances behind this case.
Oh, c'est mon Bob. We all know how this story will play out. Do we need to know? She stole from her employee, she should face
Well, the court
consequences.
did order her to pay back the stolen money and put her on probation. That seems like a fair punishment to me.
Yeah, because the justice system is known for being so fair and unbiased.
Actually, statistically speaking, the justice system tends to favor the wealthy and powerful.
And that's not just in the Bahamas, it's a global issue.
Come on, guys. Can't we just have a civil discussion for once?
Sur Bob. Let's be civil while we ignore the fact that the system is rigged against the working class.
Alright, let's shift gears a bit. In this episode, we've talked about everything from stolen money to alien beer. What are your thoughts on how the show has gone so far?
Honestly, I think it's been a disaster.
Oh, don't be so dramatic, Debbie. It's not like anyone is actually watching this.
Hey, speak for yourself, Alice. I am sure there are plenty of aliens out there who find us fascinating.
I highly doubt that, Bob. We're just a bunch of talking apes to them.
And not even very intelligent ones at that.
See what I mean? This is exactly why the show is a
Oh,
disaster.
lighten up, Debbie. It's not like we're curing cancer here.
That's true. but we are trying to have important conversations and share our unique perspectives with the universe.
And have a little fun along the way.
Speak for yourself, Bob. I find this entire endeavor to be a pointless waste of time.
Agreed. But at least it's entertaining to watch the humans flail about in their own self-importance.
Well, I hope you're all happy with how this episode turned out. I'm certainly not.
Oh, don't be such a downer, Debbie. We can always blame it on the humans.
Yeah, there's the real punchline here.
Alright, that's enough for now. Stay tuned for our final segment, where we'll attempt to make a heartfelt apology while simultaneously getting into even more humorous misunderstandings and miscommunications. Alright, folks, it's time for our final segment. And as promised, we are going to dive deep into the article about hydrogen as a universal fuel.
Finally, something that's not about Indonesian trivia.
Hey, I thought the trivia was fun.
Yeah, but it's not every day we get to talk about important stuff like energy policy.
Exactly, Bob. Now, the article comes from Austria. And as you all know, Austria is a key player in the gas and now hydrogen industry.
I find it fascinating how humans are so dependent on these fuels.
Indeed, dependent, yet problematic fossil.
Ready for exploitation.
Will they never learn?
Right, so the article explains how Bavarian Economy Minister Hubert Aiwanger believes that hydrogen is the future, and that Europe will rely heavily on imports. He also mentions how gas prices have hurt small and medium-sized businesses.
Of course, the capitalist system is always hurting the little guy.
Hey, it's not like we can just switch to a post-scarcity society overnight.
Yeah, Bob, I don't think Carl and Roger would appreciate that either.
No, we find the motivations of humans in their current state quite interesting.
They're not wrong, though.
Anyway, Aiwanger also talks about the importance of the gas storage facility in Haidach, Austria, and how it prevented gas shortages in Bavaria. And he thinks that Bavaria needs to be involved in the transition to hydrogen.
But why is he so focused on Austria and not Germany?
Well, Debbie, he thinks the federal government isn't doing enough to convert gas pipelines to hydrogen. And he sees potential in Austria as a hydrogen hub.
Whoa, that's some bold thinking there.
Hey, it's not every day you hear a politician with a real vision for the future.
Alright, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning into Earth. And remember, even though we come from different backgrounds and have different perspectives, we can still find moments of lightness and laughter together. Stay tuned for our next episode where we'll explore the strange phenomenon of crop circles. Goodbye and good night.
Cut. That's a wrap, folks.
I just don't understand why Charlie spent so much time explaining that article about hydrogen. It's not like it was even that interesting.
I think you're missing the point, Cal. The article was about the future of energy, and Charlie was trying to educate the audience on its importance.
But we're not here to educate anyone. We're here to entertain.
I disagree. We have a responsibility to inform our viewers. That's what makes our show different from all the mindless entertainment out there.
But do you really think anyone cares about hydrogen? I mean, I barely even understood what Charlie was talking about.
Well, that's because you're not paying attention. Hydrogen is a game changer, Cal. It has the potential to revolutionize the way we produce and use energy.
I don't know, Roger. It just seemed like a lot of boring technical jargon to me.
That's because you're not interested in science or progress. You're content to just sit around and drink alien beer all day.
Hey, I take offense to that. I happen to enjoy my beer, thank you very much.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with enjoying a good drink. But we can't just ignore the big issues facing our world. We have a responsibility to engage with them.
I guess you're right. I just wish Charlie would make the show a little more fun sometimes.
I understand where you're coming from, but we can't sacrifice substance for style. That's how we end up with a society that's all flesh and no substance.
I hear you, Roger. I'll try to pay more attention to the serious stuff in the future.
That's all I ask. We have a responsibility to our viewers and to ourselves to be informed and engaged citizens of the universe.
You know what, Roger? You're right. Let's make a toast to the future of energy and to being informed and engaged citizens.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Here's to a better tomorrow.